So hey, awesome ones! Did you know that the way that you apply your eye makeup can actually make you look older? Well, I have discovered by trial and error a way to really kind of camouflage our wrinkles a little bit and not accentuate them as we put on our eye makeup. So let's take a look. So let's take a look at the two ways that women apply eye makeup. And if you take a look at this photo, you'll notice on one side the lid is more wrinkly, and also underneath where the concealer has been put on, it's also more wrinkly. So let's talk about the do's and don'ts and what's right and wrong for applying the eye makeup. But in order to do that, I have to take all my eye makeup off. So you know what? I don't even go to the grocery store without eye makeup, but I'm doing this for the awesome ones, so here I am, no eye makeup. Let's start with step number one. And for step number one, I'm using a primer on my eyelids, and this one is from Urban Decay. And by the way, I'll have a list of the products that I'm using underneath the video description or also in the comments. And by the way, I use the Strivectin, it's anti-wrinkle primer on the rest of my face. And you might be asking yourself, you know, what's a primer? Well, a primer is something that you put on before your foundation. And what it does is it kind of sinks into the fine lines and the fine wrinkles. The way when you're painting a wall, you know that a primer takes care of a lot of the cracks in the wall. So I guess we're talking about the cracks in our face. But anyway, let's get back to the primer that I'm going to use on my eyes. And this primer is from Urban Decay, and it kind of looks a little bit like a concealer. And all I do is I just put a little bit, let me see here, I'm going to put it on this finger here. Just put a little bit on my finger. It's kind of oily. And I'm just going to put it all over my lid here. And by the way, for the sake of time, I am going to do both eyes, but I won't be applying all of it over, you know, each eye. So just one for now, but you will see the finished product. I guess I'm the finished product of both eyes done correctly. Now you should let that eye primer dry just a little bit. And while we're letting it dry, let's talk about my brows. My brows are pretty well done. And I did use the eyebrow stencils. And you know I love the stencils in the kit. It comes with powder for filling in your brows and shaping them perfectly. However, sometimes what I like to do is I like to use the NYX, I think it's called Fill and Fluff. And I just sort of fluff up after I'm done, and maybe, you know how you're supposed to start with your brows right about here? Sometimes I just fill in where the stencil kind of left off. Now, another great product is the NYX Brow Glue, and you're thinking to yourself, glue? No, it washes off really easy at night. But what I love about it is it really kind of makes your brows stay in place. I'll just kind of show you what we can do here. So it helps to keep them staying in place. And what I usually do is I put a couple of coats on. It's kind of like mascara, but it really, really helps to accentuate the brows. And of course, the brows really help the whole look of your eye makeup. Now let's talk about the eyeliner. And by the way, please don't use a dark black if you're a little bit older. It's really, really harsh. We want to soften up the eyes a little bit. And what I would suggest, I have a navy and I also have a soft brown by L'Oreal Infallible. I think it's called soft brown. Let me just see here. Black brown, sorry about that. And I'm just going to make a very soft line on my eyes. And because I have the hooded eyes, I'm going to do a slight swoosh on the side. So let's just take care of that here. There's my little soft swoosh that I've done. And I'm just going to go very close to the eyelashes. And notice I didn't just go, I kind of dotted it along, and now I have a soft eyeliner. And now let's talk about the lids of our eyes. What you don't want to do, you don't want to use a shiny, glossy, even creamy kind of, see the wrinkles that I have in here? I don't want to accentuate them. And if I'm using that kind of eyeshadow, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to accentuate. So what I would rather do is use something like this matte palette, which is absolutely incredible. It's from NYX and it's called Warm Neutrals. And I think I do want to highlight my eyes, so I'm going to use this one right here. And it just gives a little bit more life to your eyes. So here we go. And I'll blend that in a little bit. Okay, see how this eye has a little bit more life than that eye? And I'm also going to put just a little touch underneath the brow bone. And now for the crease of the eye, I'm actually going to use two powders, but I'm going to start off with this, this lighter one right here. And what I will be doing is using a brush like this and just sort of going into the crease. Now I do have hooded eyes, so I'm going to do a little bit of a swoosh at the side here as well. And I don't go right into the middle. I start about here, 3/4, I guess it would be. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, that looks horrible. But what you need to do is you have to blend it. And I have a very nice blending brush here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blend, and just blend it out a little bit. In a second, I'll show you step 2 of the crease. So if you look closely, you'll see all the wrinkles that I have in my crease here. And what I want to do is camouflage them a little bit. So what I'm going to use is a darker brown. And the reason I'm using brown today and not purples or some of the colors that I wear a lot is because this palette's good for almost everybody. So I'm going to use this darker color now. And what I'm trying to do is kind of camouflage those wrinkles. So let's go ahead. Put this right over top of the wrinkles. Bring it out a little bit. And again, don't forget to blend. I'm using a blending brush like this. And I want to get it right in there into the wrinkles. And it's making my eyes, even though they're hooded, they look a little bit more set in. So this is doing a lot of different kinds of camouflaging. And blend. Sorry, I'm looking off to the side, but there you go. So right about now, I can do a layer of mascara. I absolutely love the CoverGirl Exhibitionist Mascara. And I use the color black brown, not intense black, because again, we want to soften this look a little bit. But I'm just going to put one layer on right now. I usually put 3 and only 1 layer on the bottom lashes. I'm not going to do them yet because I haven't put the concealer down here yet. But you can see how that's already making a difference. And by the way, if you like this kind of video and you also love videos on fashion and self-care, I would love for you to subscribe, and also don't forget to click on the bell and you'll be notified when my videos are out. We have an awesome community here and I would love you to join in the comments. Now, just before I explain the do's and the don'ts about putting concealer underneath our eyes, I just want to tell you that I did a live event where I actually put on all my makeup in front of the camera live, so there was no room for mistakes or anything. And you can find that at amazon.com/live/awesomeover50, where Amazon has all of my live events, and just look for the thumbnail with the makeup one and you'll see me putting on my makeup. All right, so I was mentioning about the do's and the don'ts of concealer. Let's take a look at a photograph here, and what you'll notice is a real difference between the 2 applications of concealer. So let me explain what I did right and what I did wrong. So the problem was that on the don't side for the concealer, I just applied, you know, a regular thick kind of concealer like this and put it all over underneath my eyes to hide my dark circles. Well, the more makeup that you put on underneath your eyes, the more your wrinkles are going to show. So what I have found is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost, and you can see it's got moisturizer right in the center here, and my color is light, and I just use a concealer brush like this, kind of a little dab will do ya. And I have a two-step for my concealer. So all I'm going to do is just put this lightly, very, very lightly underneath my eyes. I just go into the purpley part a little bit here. So because this has got moisturizer and it's so light, it's taking care of covering and kind of matching my foundation. But let me show you what I'm going to do for still the dark circle that you see here. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit, this is Light Fair, of IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. And I'll tell you, this IT Cosmetics, it's going to last me, look at, I just use a little dab like that. It's going to last me forever. And what I do is I just use a little bit on a brush like this, and then I'm going to go into that dark circle ever so lightly. And you see how I'm just lightening it up a little bit? Okay, and I have a dark spot over here. I don't know if you can see it, but I will put a little bit of camouflaging over there as well. And those purpley parts in between my eyes, if I wanted to, I could also put a little bit of lightness right here and right here. Let me just do that properly here. And that's going to kind of brighten up my eyes as well. Now, because this is looking a little bit greasy, we want to set it, but please, the reason that the don't side looks so much more wrinklier is because I set it with a powder like this. Do not do that. There is a magic product out there, and it is called Revlon Anti-Shine, and it's fantastic. It's going to take the glare away, but it's not going to go in and make your wrinkles look worse. So that's what it looks like. It's a bomb, but you just sort of go like this, and you go underneath your eye. Let me get the mirror out. Go underneath your eyes. It's going to take the shine away. Let me just see. You can see how that's a little shiny there. Watch it take it away. There, and if I've got some on my nose. So now when I go to the ladies' room and I want to powder my nose, I don't powder it, I anti-shine it. And by the way, skincare and eye creams are so important as a base before you do put on your makeup. And I did do a video on skincare. It was actually my nighttime routine. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to put it on the end screen of this video so you can check it out. All right, what we don't want to do is put a heavy black liner underneath our eyes. That's really, really aging. So what I want to do is just use this dark brown again. I'm just using a little brush like this, and I'm just going to lightly go underneath my eyes. This will be my liner. Just like that. And I'm just going to do the other side quickly because I just want to show you a little bit of mascara that I'll put on as well to even that out a bit. And I'm going to put a second layer on the top of lashes, but I'm just going to show you how I do the bottom lashes. I'll do the top ones off camera. So what I'm going to do is just very lightly. And this mascara is fantastic. It doesn't make you have the raccoon eyes, and it comes off very, very nicely at night. So I showed you my do's and don'ts for applying the eye makeup, But let's take a look at how I looked before I put on the makeup and then when I had the makeup on. So here you can see that I have my makeup on, but I don't know, I just look a little bit more youthful, and it also is a really natural looking makeup. So I gotta tell you something too. There was a lot of trial and error as per how to put this makeup on as we age and make it still look natural. So on one of my live events, and by the way, they're every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at amazon.com/shop/awesomeover50, I talked about, how we're so easy for us just to upgrade our phone or upgrade our TV or upgrade our car. But we really don't think about upgrading our makeup or our skincare. And, as we're aging, we really need to do that. So if you're still using the same old cold cream that your mom used or whatever for the last 20 years, or you're still using, let's say, the same kind of concealer, what I want to do on these videos is I want to be your tester. I want to be the guinea pig, and I'm going to try all kinds of things, and when I find some good ones, I'm going to show them to you, and I'm going to help you to keep it awesome.